Hello, this is KRBrickBot. It's nearly 10 years, a whole decade has passed since a very popular robot brand that is not Transformers has come to pass. And in celebration of its 10th anniversary of its first premiere, here's the very first sold Tobot X in packaging, still in packaging. Very banged up packaging, but still with packaging. I mean, do you know how hard is it to find these in packaging these days? I mean, there's a whole bunch of loose ones. Loose ones are very common, but since this was intended for the 4 and up, I bet you like about maybe 90% of the packaging went to the landfill, because naturally that's where it goes, but yeah, but someone sold this for a while. It was pretty bad condition, but at least the packaging exists here, right in front of you, yeah, though. The early packaging design had some red. It was basically red and tire gray. And the very first logo was like this, and not the wing logo. So there's the QR code. Yeah, QR code practice they did early in the packaging, but I don't think they redo as much anymore, but still exists. The Kia logo proudly in there, the badge of Tobot Season 1. Yeah, the cardboard backdrop in there, it is pretty decorative. Tobot cars, the Toki, I mean, they spelled it like that apparently in the early seasons, or the early packaging, and there's even a little tag there. So much excess that most of have been discarded because they're pieces of paper, just little trinkets. The side of the box here, the side of this unusually shaped box. So, right here are all the TV networks the show aired on and probably occasionally still airs on. On the back, all the CG renders, so yeah. There's Tobot Z here, so this is actually a 2012 release and not the original 2010, but still pretty good. All their Korean English names, not the American English names. And this fell off, but there are some web address links for this. These exact URLs are kind of defunct now, but back in the day. Yeah, so here, 2012. No, this is 2013. Yeah, so they kept releasing these until 2014. Now I'm going to brave it and take it out of its old dusty packaging. So among the various paper trinkets, the little tag included on the figure itself, QR code for a transformation video, a stylized head here with a red visor oddly, and on the back, a little warning is to fold the knees like this or else the panel could break like this. Did they seriously break this off just to show this illustration, or did some kid do it and then they just took this picture? And we also get 4 cards. There's the beautiful Soul logo here, Kia Motors, and several specs like the height, weight, the horsepower, the speed. I'm assuming those are specs taken from the actual Kia Soul. The robot mode, on the other hand, I believe it's fictitious, but there are still some good scale here. Ooh, that scale would be really useful for making replicas, 3D printed replicas. Yeah, so there's the weight, there's the height, the weight, the power, the speed, and the jump height, and the battery usage, the life energy usage time, 17 hours and 1.5 hours in energy saving mode. Yeah, these cards are pretty nifty. Yeah, there's nothing on the back, it's just card back, but one of both Tobot Y and X. This one is like both of those previous cards combined, the specs and such. And a transformation card. Like, I think these points are important for detaching when transforming. Next, the sticker sheet. Yeah, early Tobots used a lot of stickers. So it consists of a racing number 7 on the hood, which is really not canonical at all. I'm not sure, just for extra decorations. The rear lights, the Kia logo handlebar, the rear bumper lights, and a whole bunch of numbers for custom license plate decoration. These are the rear view mirror stickers. I'm not going to be applying any of them because you can't find this in this exact condition anymore. Now here's a look at the instructions, the old instructions I gave. This very interesting stylized logo, an old logo. Kia Motors, Young Toys. The robot model diagram with a lot of numbers. So these numbers were for part identification for getting replacement parts. So I guess you just make a phone call, tell what numbers need replacing for the very fragile parts I will get to later. But you can't order these anymore because it's an old toy. They terminate old toys. And yeah, need several instructions here and such. And finally, the old classic character and product catalog. Yeah, this is kind of a nostalgia kick. Early days, and especially those Korean Sonokong Transformers, they had these with every single Tobot, every single product. Yeah, Carbot hasn't really done this, and you don't really see these pack-in catalogs anymore. Oh yeah, this was a 2013 release, so they had up to Tobot W at this point, and some other miscellaneous merchandise. I just want to take a moment to look at this little unique decorated backdrop. Very pastel bright blue with some wheel backgrounds here, these blue liquid pipes, the Toki here, and the cards. Yeah, but it was a pretty nice decorative thing. Well, nowadays, though, Korean robot packaging just have a shiny silver cardboard insert, and not this fancy thing. Yeah, this even raised bumps and all sorts of shapes and whatnot. So here's Tobot X straight out of the 7-year-old packaging. And the very dusty, very dusty, not quite as new as I hoped. Yeah, I guess that window was really just falling off, and then all sorts of dust got in there. It was stored in some sort of super dusty closet or some other sun-bright space, so it feels very dusty as much as the packaging. So I'm gonna have to do a lot of washing and wiping and dusting off here, so I'll be right back. Yeah, this is 10 years old. This mold is 10 years old at this point. Feeling old yet? And a pretty annoying QR sticker right there on the door. I mean, it's convenient for kids just to get the instructions just by scanning it, but it's really unsightly and kind of a hassle to take off. So Tobot X really had the axe motif going about with the axe crotch, the axe Toki symbol, and the axe head. And also sports the traditional car chest design. Some interesting techno-greeble details when this bumper is expanded. A chrome Kia logo across here. This one's kind of peeling. I don't think it's crumbling yet, but yeah, it's kind of flaking. It might get flaky and crumbly if I try to take it off. And Tobot 55110 chrome license sticker, which I might add probably will get really scratchy and scrungy by the majority of the purchasers. Some chrome stickered lights here. And yeah, these are really baggy legs. I mean, the butt kibble and the side kibble, yeah, they really get... I mean, it gives a nice caped straight look, but it kind of gets in the way of posability. And the back kibble is kind of loose for some reason. And yeah, car feet with wheels, which maybe could act as skates, and some rather short arms. And these doors are on actually somewhat kind of floppy hinges, intentionally floppy hinges. Yeah, they're not on sliders, they're just kind of nestled in there. He was very articulate for a first year Tobot, for the very first. So first, it has a ball socketed head, side to side tilt, upward that much, downward that much. Some very nice clicky ratchets. And yeah, I suppose there's a shoulder joint for transformation. Ratcheted elbows at 90 degrees. Bicep swivels. Yes, one of the very first Korean robots in general had a bicep swivel. Why is this not a standard for most Korean robots? No wrist articulation, just a sliding joint. And a full weight swivel that's not necessary for transformation, but it has a waist swivel. So pretty articulate upper body. Lower body not so. Ratcheted forward that much. Backward that much, the door cable really gets in the way. No thigh swivels. Double knee joint. Upper knee joint here and the lower knee joint here. And the foot joint with several clicks and notches. And if you see how this ratchet is constructed, it's just two separate loose pieces of plastic that's just molded to hold it to that. But if you can imagine, these plastic ratchets will not last if they're moved way too much. Case in point, here's a second-hand Tobot X. Yep, the legs have really lost their grip. The plastic ratchets have really lost their grip. Yeah, it looks like they probably warped or the friction eroded some of the plastic, therefore they can't. And especially the feet, yeah. No ratchets, now they're just frictioned. The upper legs seems pretty intact, and these ratchets seem pretty intact. Yeah, but the shoulders are also failing because this also has a plastic ratchet. And as you can imagine, it wore out. So he has floppy shoulders. So a critical flaw on the most weight supporting joints. And there's actually been a few running changes since over the few years these Tobots were released and re-released. For X, the knee joints, there are two different knee joints. As you can see here, I'm assuming this is the early one, and this is the newer version, since this was a 2013 release. This one has many more ratchet stopper points. This one is, yeah, this does have ratchet stoppers, but they were small, and these ones go all the way across. Which, in the grand scheme of things, it doesn't seem to help. These extra ridges don't really seem to help in any way. Also, they seem to be much rougher. Yeah, but that's an interesting variant. Oh, and also, yeah, these sliders, I think these are spring-loaded and meant to fill up the leg there, but as you can see, they just get stuck really, really easily. So you would just have to unscrew the leg and slide it up, then put it back together, only for this thing to get stuck in here again. Yeah. And some of the leg constructions, yeah, I mean, they're mostly held together by screws, but I think some of them overlap, like this arm here. You can see this is like a hook overlap here, so this probably will break if someone tries to disassemble this. So here's Nemesis Prime and the newest Tobot, Silverhawk. Yeah, these were quite big for their time, even a little bigger than the leader class. And it retailed for about $40 back in the day. Not going to lie, his transformation is very fiddly. I'm not sure how a 4-year-old can keep it all together. Collapse in the chest, push that down until you hear a click. Then clip it in, come around to the back, untab the waist, untab this rear hind door, and very carefully untab this solid plastic lock. Collapse the knees all the way they can go. Before that, fold up the rear heel and put the toe tab into the shin slot here. It's not a tight fit, just there for positioning. Tab this tab on the foot into the shin. It's a loose connection though. Do the same for the other leg. Be making sure to tab into these tabs here. So you can then sandwich them into the many tabs of this rear door, like 2 on the roof, some tabs here, and some little hole tabs here. If you can get that together. Then fold that waist down. Tab the upper windshield here. Then tab in the arms. First the front door with these tiny little easily breakable tabs. Then pull the car back a little bit as you put in the door tabs. And here's Tobot X in his 2009 Kia Soul mode. But it's actually a much squatter proportioned Kia Soul compared to the actual car. Also much smaller as shown in the animation. Really tiny cars, really big toy. So there are some transparent headlights molded on here. This is where the majority of the stickers go. It all goes on the back. Kia plate here, rear lights here, bumper lights here, custom number plate here. Copyright 2009. Yeah, so it looked like this toy was being produced in 2009, then launched in 2010. So a somewhat stylized Kia Soul. None of these are really in scale. This is actually, I think, slightly bigger than the 1/21 scale. And they look okay side by side at a glance, but it's not 100% scale accurate. But honestly, transforming this thing from car to bot is actually more nerve-wracking. So there is this toe key, this chrome blue toe key, but it also works with a smart key sold separately. So there was a wristband here, but that was lost. And some paper insert slides where you just, put that in and then press a button here, and a separate piece on the paper would pop out reading some sort of intercom interface. Okay, so you can press these buttons to remove this smart key. Yeah, so that sort of transforms. It also gives a very nice, this thing vibrates really well. Kind of simulating a car revving, so you can plug that in. So what this really does is just, it somewhat nestles the tabs holding the arms together. Success mileage may vary. So what this key really does is slightly toggle the little latches that are holding the arms together. So your mileage may vary, but it should loosen those arms. Then carefully pull apart the arms to unlatch those doors. And carefully unlatch the top. Then carefully pull the legs. I'm sure plenty of kids try to pull the legs with the hood still intact and thus creating stress marks or even cracking the hood. So if you don't want to do that, just split the legs apart like this. And also take the hood and very carefully, even more carefully, nudge the tab into the top here. I'm afraid if this thing gets stiff, it will be very likely to break. So you can flip in those toe heels. Carefully unlatch this. Turn around the doors. Carefully unlatch this, unless you just want to break it. Fold out the arms. Pull down the bumper. And fold back the hood. And the tab here, right here. And there was also a variant red redeco that was featured in the show, but only one episode or one season. Great Tobot X. A temporary power-up version that's just basically a red Tobot X, red Kia Soul. Oh look, this one had its previous owner's name on it. As I said, with those plastic ratchets, they do not hold up. They literally do not hold up. It's certainly a pretty cool color scheme in the color sense. Silver and blue and light blue, which are kind of Optimus Prime colors. And the silver head. So yeah, incidentally, the most silver was used in the white micro version of Tobot X, so if you painted that white plastic red, yeah, I think that would have worked as a mini Great Tobot X. What made this X so great? He had a whole bunch of extra accessories. First off, the helmet. Just plug it on the noggin here. Yeah, that is some sort of intimidating look. Yeah, that's... Yeah, but it's... As you can see, this helmet is in extremity and really nowhere to store, so many a helmet has been lost. So his other accessory was this... Or Proton Charger! In those no gun dubs. Yeah, so it is this kind of dark matte gold, which, you know, which really degrades easily. A knob that really does not do anything, it's just for looks. But you can plug in one of 3 missiles. I only have 2, but plug that in and there's a cleverly hidden button. Yeah, those heavy warheads do not go really that far. This thing shoots green energy anyway, so just use it as an imaginatory energy blaster. Yeah, so this thing just slides over the hand and just kind of nestles in with these arm screw nubs. Looks pretty great, does not stand great. And of course, you can put this revolver or blaster in on the original mold. So that's how he mostly used this thing after never using the red color scheme ever again, and neither did he use his helmet ever again. And there was also a variant running change. Right here you can see knees are different. These ones have much more ridges, and not only that, but also the paint tone. This one was black. I'm assuming this newer version had a much more gray and more shiny, clean plastic. Less noticeable to see the scratches on. And the door kibble. These variants do not have notches. No notches. No notches. So, though there are some breakage points gone. Because I broke this. Yeah, I broke this. Not some kid from the secondary market. I broke this. This is what I meant. Yeah, that thing is just that hard to clip into most copies. Well, at least he can pose more freely now with that thing out of the way, including a nice high kick. Still, terrible knees. So, after 10 years, honestly, this figure does not hold up. More literally. Nowadays, Korean robots use these milky white polyamide plastic, which is much more durable for ratchet joints. So, that was like a predecessor until Carbots did them one up, literally did them one up with these new plastic joints. This Tobot X mold never got released in Tobot's international run. Instead, this was the definitive Tobot X for most countries. The original Tobot X that was released in 2014. Much simpler, much sturdier, and much cheaper to transform than this thing. Yeah, but the pros and cons for each of them. With 4 years of releases, both Tobot X and the Great Tobot X are incredibly common to find on the secondary market. But it's incredibly hard nowadays to find one in a good new condition or package like this.
Thanks for watching, and be sure to like and subscribe to tune in for more Tobots and Korean robots. And until next time, this is KRBrickBot signing off.